Are you tired with superheroes? Boy, Hollywood doesn't think you are. So, what do we have this past weekend? Another superhero movie. This time, it is an animated one, and it is brought to you by the people who gave us the Hotel Transylvania series, and from the producers of the Lego movie. I'm talking about none other than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse takes place in a semi-alternate universe where the events of the Tobey Maguire trilogy actually did happen, as we do get an intro at the very beginning introducing us to our Peter Parker and explaining to us that apparently that stuff happens and it connects to this. Somewhat there are issues with it, but we'll get past that. But our main character is a young kid by the name of Miles Morales, who happens to be half African American and half Spanish. I believe it's Puerto Rican in the comic books, but if I'm wrong, screw it. I'm Puerto Rican, Jeff's half Puerto Rican. Let's go with that one. And he's going through a turbulent time in his life. He's been moved from one high school to a more prominent high school because he happened to pass the test. He's against it. He likes the more laid-back style of his old neighborhood, and he's against it. And by some chance, he happens to get bitten by a radioactive spider, and also at the same time be there for an event that his universe, Spider-Man, happens to be going through. And we go from there. Yeah, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a really good movie. It's not only a good animated movie, it's a very good movie in general. They play with the characteristics of Spider-Man. They play with the style of being a comic book. They play with comedy. They play with thematic terms that are really, actually very good and interesting. After coming off something like Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, which I have a feeling a lot of people didn't get on board with the message the movie was trying to tell. This one has a little bit of easier message, a lot more of a cuter message. It's much more nicer to give to your kids, adults, everyone. And that's why this one's getting a lot better reviews. It is a more focused movie at times. So let's get into the lights of this movie. Obviously, Miles Morales. He is really good in this movie. I enjoyed his characterization in a year, over the last couple of years, where the only time people say they like stuff is because, well, let's get through it right away. Oh, it's different. It's inclusionist. It's meaning everyone. Not to get too political, I really don't care who the main character is as long as they're compelling and the story makes it. That's why a piece of garbage like Crazy Rich Asians I hated. That's why I guess there is some significance in Wonder Woman. Not a character I care about, so I didn't watch it. Black Panther, same thing. Not a character. When I was reading comics in the 90s, he was a D-level character at best. And there's really nothing I care about that character, so sorry if you think that's racist. Whatever, I don't care. Something like The Hate You Give, once again, something that, well, that movie is complete nonsense anyway, and I think a lot of the critics liked it because of whatever nonsense they want to do. I didn't feel like the Miles Morales stuff was a trope, or it was placating to anyone. I thought it was a really good character. He was well built. He never fell back on the fact that, oh, I'm dark skinned or I'm Spanish. He gave hints of it. He talked Spanish. His mom talked Spanish. He's obviously a darker skin color than everyone else, but it was perfectly fine. And everything that happened was suitable to the plot. So that's one thing. I just thought he was a good character in general. Spider-Gwen was really cool. I liked her. There's a lot of characters. The one who I think had... If you're going to ask me who had the best arc, I don't think it would be Miles Morales. I kind of think it would be Peter Parker. Or the older Peter Parker who's dealing with issues in his universe has to come back and be a trainer, but also sees while he's training this kid how what he's training him to be also can help him realize what he needs to do if and when he can get back to his own universe. I really liked a noir Spider-Man voiced by Nicolas Cage, who I really think can carry his own movie. And this is also the second cartoon animated superhero movie Nicolas Cage has played this year. He played Superman in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, and now he's Spider-Man in this movie, and Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Ham was fine for what he was supposed to do. He wasn't overexposed, so his jokes were corny at times, but they were fun corny. But he wasn't on screen enough for me to get annoyed by him. And let's talk about the villain of the movie, the Kingpin. Hollywood and most movies have a problem with villains where they're either the mustache twirling person or they're just evil to be evil. The Kingpin's motivation in this movie, when we finally find out what it is actually something that's very relatable. I sat there and I thought, if this was to happen to me, hell yeah, I'm doing this. So it was really compelling and all around. He was a three-dimensional character for the most part. The father for Miles Morales, Jeff, he was a very interesting character. He did a lot more. The mom wasn't so much. And I like the voice cast. Jack Johnson was the voice of the alternate version of Peter Parker. We had Nicolas Cage doing Noir Spider-Man. Mahershala Ali, who we recently saw in Green Book, he played Miles Morales' uncle, and that's all I'm going to say about that. The visual style of this movie is really good. It's somewhere between 2D and 3D, but at the same time has elements of comic books in it, as you would see word bubbles appear on the screen, or his inner thoughts would be coming out, especially when he started getting his spider powers. So they had a really good cast, and there is a special guest voice in the end credit scene, so stick around for that. If I was to say anything bad about this movie, I was kind of disappointed that while Gwen, Peter B. Parker, and Miles Morales got an interesting introduction, as well as Peter Parker, when you watch the movie you will understand, the other three Spider-Man, literally all their backstories got dumped together. You would see a screen that was split into 3 places, and all of them would be told at the same time. So not all Spider-Men are created equal, apparently. That was a little nitpick of mine. Also, I wasn't a fan of the music. I'm a fan of like 90s hip-hop, early 90s hip-hop and rap. This soundtrack did not grab me, and in fact, in times it kind of annoyed me, because I'm tired of the trope of, if you live in the inner city, you have to listen to rap music. We live in New York City. Just throwing it out there. The soundtrack didn't do anything for me, and in certain places it took away. There was this thing where they always had to stop, and I know it was done for comedic fashion, and I understand that we have to get the backstory done in some way, but like the movie would literally pause in times so they can go, okay, I'm only going to tell you this once. And it does it at least 4 times in this movie that I can remember. Maybe a 5th time, depending on how you see the ending. But that's about it. Those are minor gripes. None of it really detracted me from the movie. I really enjoyed it a lot. This is easily going to be the best animated film of the year. And I think a lot of people will be putting this on their best movies of the year. I think this is the best superhero movie I've seen all year. I'd put this against Avengers Infinity War. I had a lot of fun with this movie. And I like the message. Once you get it to the end and they explain the multiverse and all these other characters, they go into this part where they explain that the reason this happened is to show that anyone can be a Spider-Man. You, me, the person down the street, the hobo, anyone can be. You just have to want it. And that's a really good message in this movie. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, 9.3. Like I said, easily the best animated movie, best superhero movie, I think it's going to be, and it should be in people's top 10 of the year. Did you see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and until next time, I will talk to you later.